welcome to my video. Today I'm showing you how to apply Jamberry nail wraps. We need to start with our nail prep wipe. These are a great size, so you'll be able to see there the size of the wipe in relation to my hand, and there's plenty of spare as well. So we're just using a nail prep wipe to get rid of any oils that are in our nail. I pop it back in the packet between uses so that it stays a little bit moist. Using the orange stick, I'm pushing my cuticles back on all of my nails and just giving them a bit of a general tidy up, paying attention to push back any of the invisible cuticles that may remain on my nail, tidying them up a little bit because I want a really good preparation for my wraps. Okay, bit of a reshape. So now I'm actually wrapping my orange stick in the nail prep wipe and going right along my cuticle line, because I tend to put my wraps quite close to my cuticle and I don't want to risk having missed any of the oil and having my wraps left. So once I've done that, folding it all back in to the pouch. Okay, so now I'm using my heater just to dry my nails out a bit, because they do have the nail prep wipe only just gone over them, so I don't want to risk any moisture. And today I'm using Clowning Around for my manicure, or my Jamacure. Sizing is really important, so if you haven't done a sizing template, make sure you go along. I'm working out the pattern there too. So I've decided for stripes for my pinky, so using my orange stick I'm going to go under and start to peel it up. I like to leave it on my sheet instead of cutting them up individually. Checked the length and using my nail scissors to cut that off. So heat it up for a few seconds and line it up on the nail bed as close as you can to the cuticle without touching the skin, making sure it's straight. Using the cuticle pusher, pushing from the cuticle towards the tip and then from the sides, from the center toward each of the sides, heating it up a little bit and using my other hand there, my finger, to put pressure on. I've turned my hand upside down there so that I can just put a bit of pressure from the nail to the wrap instead of from the wrap to the nail, because I find that helps having longer nails and having nothing underneath it. Sometimes you don't have great contact. So on to the next nail. I'm using dots for my ring finger. Again, I've sized it up, got my cuticle scissors, cut to length, heated it up for no more than 3 seconds and popped it onto my ring finger there. Needing to reposition a little till I'm happy. Just a little bit of heat to help manipulate that wrap on that nail using my cuticle pusher. A bit more heat, and you can see that I'm using a bit of a stretch and pull there because I want a really good contact. Pressure for our heat and pressure activated adhesive. Because my pinky has now cooled down, I'm using my scissors just to trim, because I have quite a lot of excess, and I like to use those later on a French manicure, so I like to keep them on the sheet. Sizing up the middle finger now, and I'm going to use the dots on that one as well. Peeling it up again with my orange stick, making sure I don't get my finger on the underside of the wrap, on the adhesive side, because we don't want to risk any oils getting on that wrap and disturbing the adherence. So positioning this nail was a little bit difficult for me. You'll see that I've struggled a couple times, and then I realized that the nail is actually a bit smaller than the wrap. So repositioning again, and I'm going to trim it down the side there, using my nail scissors while it's on my nail so that I don't risk cutting too much off, making sure it's rounded at the cuticle there. So it's already in position, but I'm going to give it a bit more heat, pop it back on the nail, straighten it up a bit, use the cuticle pusher and get right there from the cuticle to the tip, from the center to the sides. Turning it over and doing the underside, again, better contact with my nails when they're longer. Stretch and pull, making sure those tips are really looked after. My ring finger's cool, so I'm trimming off that excess to use again later on a French tip type manicure. Go on to my pointer, going back to stripes this time for my pointer. I've sized it up. I've got my cuticle or my orange stick there. Cuticle scissors to cut it to size. Back on the cuticle stick, a couple of seconds heat, positioning on my nail. Cuticle pusher again from the cuticle to the tip, down the sides from the center, underneath, giving it another bit of heat, pressure, underneath because this one is a little bit of a longer nail. My center or my middle finger is cool now, so I'm going to trim that off and save that for my next French tip looking Jammacure. Give me a bit of rub again and go on to my thumb. Now my thumb, I want it to be dots like my pinky and my ring finger. So I sized it up, but because my thumbs are actually quite square at the cuticle, I have folded that over to find the center, and I'm going to cut that, but that cut part of it actually will be my cuticle part instead of the curved cut that we usually use as against our cuticle. So what I need to do there is I just need to cut a little bit, and one side of my thumb is more sloped than the other. So you'll see there I'm just resizing and making sure that I get the right cut. But the cut part of the wrap, the center of the wrap, is now the cuticle. Sometimes, depending on the design of the wrap, you may need to be careful with that, or you may like that it faces the other way compared to the other wraps that you use. That's perfectly fine, that's up to you. So repositioning, making sure I'm happy with that. And my thumbs do tend to lift if I don't do a good job on my thumbs, if I rush them. So you notice in here that I'm using a lot of pressure, reheating and pressure again. There's a few little creases up near the tip, so I'm doing a bit of a heat and stretch and pull. That helps to get rid of those. Turning my nail upside down so I can put pressure against the table to make sure I've got good contact with that wrap. More heat, more pressure. My pointer has cooled down, so I'm going to trim off the excess, save it for my next French tip. There we go. Give it a bit of heat again and push it on, because just at those sides there it started to lift before. Okay. A bit more heat and pressure on all of my nails, including my thumb, and trimming off the excess wrap off that thumbnail. Saving it for later. Okay, so the next step that you need to do is file it. So filing should be done at a 90-degree angle. If you have shorter nails, you can do it at a 45-degree angle. You'll see that the remaining excess is starting to peel off, and you get really good contact with your nail there. Only file in the downward motion. Don't go back and forth. And again, you can see the excess came off. There you go. A little bit of an issue on the corner there. So I've used the scissors to get rid of it. My nails curve right into my skin there, so it's difficult for me to get in. But a little bit of heat and pressure, because I don't want it to start lifting. It's one of the problem areas on my fingers. So my middle finger now, just filing in that downward motion. Excess is coming away. I've got good contact there on my nail. I don't see that there's going to be any lifting, so using my pointer finger now, filing in a downward motion, getting rid of that excess, just like we've done on all our other nails. Fixing the shape up a little bit there, but also still filing from above the nail to below the nail. Getting rid of any of the flaky bits. So I need the thumb to go again, straight downward motion, 90-degree angle where possible, going all the way right to the sides as well. It's very important. And that's it. The better the contact that you have there, the longer your wraps will last. Just a bit more heat and pressure. These wraps can take the extra heat, as they're not the sparkle wraps. Sparkle wraps you can't keep reheating because you do risk overheating them, or the metallic wraps. Now there's a crease there on that thumb, so I'm using extra heat and pressure to get rid of it. My thumbs have a habit of lifting, so I'm just making sure that the application is absolutely perfect for my thumb. Bit of my nail underneath there. Fold it back a bit far. Bit more heat, bit more pressure. And again. And my thumbnail looks good. So that's the Jammacure there. The last step to doing your jams is using cuticle oil. We have a pen, or we have the bottle. Now these pens are really great. You have a little brush at the end, and the other end you can click, and the cuticle oil goes into the brushes. Pop it on the cuticles. Give it a good rub around. And your Jammacure is done. That cuticle oil is very important to keep your nails nice and healthy and help them grow. So that's clowning around on my Jammacure. Thanks for joining me. Enjoy your jams.